2 weeks ago, I went 6-7. Wasn't a good week for picks, period. Last week, 8-6. A little bit better, but still a little screwball. And I need to do better in week number 11, period. So hopefully I can do that this week. Out of 15 games, I hope to get 11, maybe 12 right. We'll just have to see. I think this week's action might be a little bit easier to predict. But sometimes in the NFL, you just never know. Ultimately, that's why they play the game. So let's talk about Week 11 of this 2013 NFL season. I'll start off with the Thursday night matchup. The Colts traveling to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Titans just lost this past week to the Jaguars, surrendering a bad loss to a bad Jaguars team, helped them get out of the winless column. And the Colts, coming off of a bye, were very disappointing. Luck looked terrible, and the Colts looked lethargic and complacent. They got smashed and steamrolled by Tavon Austin and the Rams. That was not a good performance. So both of these teams are coming off of some rough weeks. It looks like Fitzpatrick's going to be the man the rest of the year in Tennessee. You have to assume that Luck would come back and play a little bit better on this short week. I'm going to take the Colts here. This is actually a pretty important matchup. You've got the Colts sitting at 6-3, the Titans sitting at 4-5. If the Colts can win this game, it puts them 3 games ahead in the AFC South. That's 3 games ahead with 6 games to go and keeps them nipping at the heels of the New England Patriots for the number 2 overall seed in the AFC playoff picture. When we look at the early Sunday afternoon matchups, the Falcons and the Buccaneers, I'm not picking the Falcons no more, at least for the time being. Fuck them. They've cost me too many times this year. The Buccaneers have looked really good the past 2 weeks. They almost beat the Seahawks, and they did end up beating the Dolphins on Monday night, so I'm taking the Buccaneers. The Jets, behind Geno Smith, traveling to Buffalo to take on E.J. Manuel and the Bills. I love matchups of rookie quarterbacks, especially these 2 guys that I was a lot higher on than a lot of other draft nicks and talking heads. I think the Jets are a better team, and I think they'll win this matchup. But don't be too dismayed, Bills fans. Better times are ahead in the future. I think the Lions are going to travel to Pittsburgh and handle the Steelers. I think the Eagles are going to get off the schneid. I think they've lost, 9 in a row at home. That's kind of fluky. That's got to end at some point. And I don't think the Redskins are all that good. The Eagles have got to win this matchup this week, you would think. They've had a couple of solid weeks in a row with Nick Foles at quarterback. It looks like he's going to be the man going forward. You've got the Cardinals traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. While the Jaguars have been bad this year, there have been some games where they've been very competitive. I would anticipate they might be able to be competitive with the Cardinals, but the Jaguars still have only won 1 game. The Cardinals are sitting at 5-4. They're actually in the playoff race in the NFC, so give me the Cardinals. The Oakland Raiders may be without Terrell Pryor. They're traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. And to me, the Texans are almost in the same category as the Falcons. I don't want to fucking pick them anymore. As they're 2-7, and they've cost me big time this year. Thinking, they're the Texans, so they got to win at some point. No, they don't necessarily. But I do think they're going to win, especially if the Raiders are without both Terrell Pryor and possibly Darren McFadden as well. My Bears host the Ravens, and this to me will be a very interesting game, obviously because I'm a Bears fan. But you look at it, you're facing the defending Super Bowl champions. Now Josh McCown is going to be your starter. Hopefully McCown is able to play well and establish once and for all that the Chicago Bears, as I've talked about for years, do not need Jay Cutler. He's not that much different. He definitely isn't much better, and he doesn't make that much of a difference. And I anticipate that we might find that out Sunday again, in case you didn't already know. So I'm taking the Bears over the Ravens. I don't think the Ravens have looked all that good, even though they did beat the Bengals this past Sunday. That's a divisional matchup, a lot of familiarity there, and they still almost found a way to piss that game down their legs late. The Browns traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals, another AFC North matchup. The Browns have been a very competitive team for the most part this year. They play hard, they play tough. They've gotten some good quarterback play out of Jason Campbell the past couple of weeks. They've got some nice weapons in the passing game with Josh Gordon and Jordan Cameron, but I would have to think after 2 straight losses where the Bengals found a way to give it away to the Dolphins in overtime on a fucking safety and then losing game in overtime to the Ravens, you would have to think the Bengals will respond and come back here and win in a big way, I would think at least. Now, in terms of the late afternoon games, you got the Chargers traveling to Miami to take on the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, personally, after watching them Monday night, I think this is a team that's on the verge of collapse. I think the Chargers played the Broncos as tough as they possibly could, so I'm taking the Chargers here on the road. I think the Packers, whether it's Tolzien or Flynn, doesn't really matter. I think the Giants are hot right now. They won 3 in a row. The Packers just don't look like the same team without Aaron Rodgers. I think the Giants are going to win and make things really interesting in the NFC East. Percy Harvin faces his old team in the Vikings. He's coming back, his 2013 season debut. I would be stunned if the Seahawks didn't destroy the Minnesota Vikings. I'd be absolutely stunned. stranger things have happened. The Buccaneers almost went into Seattle at Qwest Field 2 weeks ago and beat the Seahawks in their stadium, which is supposed to be a tough place to play. But the Vikings are not a very good team, and the Seahawks are, to me, the best team in all of the NFL. The other late Sunday afternoon game, it's a rematch from last year, the 49ers and the Saints. 2 years ago, the 49ers knocked the Saints out of the playoffs into the divisional round. Last year, the 49ers went to New Orleans and beat the Saints in the Superdome. I think this year, Drew Brees and the Saints get a little measure of revenge. Even if Crabtree plays this week, that 49ers offense needs to find some explosiveness, needs to find some big plays in the passing game, especially if Vernon Davis can't go. Even if Vernon Davis can go, this is still a very one-dimensional passing team. It's Vernon Davis and pretty much nothing else. And they're very reliant on the running game, and they just don't have an ability to score a lot of points, whereas with the Saints, you always have the ability to score a lot of points with Drew Brees as your quarterback, and they have a defense that's holding some people down and shutting some people down. I'm taking the Saints this week. The Sunday night matchup. This is one that I'm sure everybody's going to be talking about. And understandably so, a great, interesting contrast to styles here. An AFC West matchup. The Chiefs traveling to Mile High to take on Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. I really do believe that the Chiefs will beat the Broncos once this year. I just don't think it'll be here. I think it might be more likely to happen at Arrowhead, even though the Chiefs are coming off of a bye week and the Broncos have a look less than 100% super-duper stellar the past couple of weeks. The bottom line is I'm just not 100% sold that the Chiefs are going to beat them on the road. It is going to be interesting, though. The Chiefs do have that type of formula where they could beat the Broncos. They play great defense, and they have great defensive talent at every level of the defense. It's not just the front three. It's not just the linebackers. It's not just the secondary. They have great talents all throughout their defense. That's what I like about the Chiefs' defense. They have talent and impact players at every level of the defense. Not every NFL team can say that. Most NFL teams, in fact, can't say that. And then on offense, they're a team that limits their mistakes. They control the ball. They run the ball very effectively. This is a Chiefs team that could cause Peyton Manning and the Broncos some problems because they might be able to own the time of possession. And if that's what they're able to do, then that will limit Peyton Manning's opportunities in their explosive passing game in Denver, and that could make it a very competitive game, even though I do think the Broncos will find a way to end up winning. In the Monday night matchup, a really good matchup here. You've got the 7-2 Patriots coming fresh off a bye, heading to Carolina to take on the hot as a pistol Carolina Panthers, who have won 5 in a row. I expect this to be a good game and a really close game. My one concern for the Panthers is I'm still not sure that they're going to be able to score a lot of points against certain opponents when they need to. Their defense is playing very, very well, yes, but Brady, I think, is going to start to find his rhythm. I think he did a couple of weeks ago. You got Gronkowski back, and that makes a tremendous, tremendous difference in that Patriots passing attack. No question about it. I'm going to take the Patriots to win on the road here. I do expect the Panthers to put up a good fight. I don't expect it to necessarily be a particularly high-scoring game, but I think you're going to have a little too much Gronkowski, and you're going to have a little too much Tom Brady. If the Panthers win this game, then, ladies and gentlemen, you need to understand that the Panthers are not only a threat to pass the Saints and win the NFC South. If they beat the Patriots here on Monday night, the Panthers are a real deal, legit threat to win the NFC and go to the Super Bowl, and I truly mean that. Make sure, again, if you want to go against the Schleg Daddy, put your picks in the comment section down below. I hope you're enjoying my fall ball series so far. Tomorrow's video is going to be about my beloved Chicago Cubs and whether Theo Epstein is the right man to bring a World Series to the Cubs, because I have some serious reservations about that. See you later.